go. And so I am Dara Hall. I am the Executive Director of Teacher Education and Student Success, and I am going to talk to you a little bit today about what to expect in terms of deciding that you are going to embark on the very best possible career that you possibly can. So first things, give yourselves a somewhat silent round of applause. Congratulations on being a part of our JMU community. We're so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to have you a part of James Madison University. We are excited that you have decided to embark on the profession of teaching, and you should know that you will be a part of the College of Education in your programs. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you are part of the elementary education program. See one, I'm guessing there's more than one. There we go. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you are part of the inclusive early childhood program. Awesome. Fantastic. What about special education? Do I have special education represented? Okay. Fabulous. And then what about middle education? Do I have any middle education folks? Great. And what about secondary education? Any secondary education folks? Awesome. Anybody that's doing TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages? All right. Any other education programs that I haven't covered? Because we also do art, music, theater, dance, PE, foreign language. They're not part of the College of Ed, but they are part of our professional education unit. Okay. All right. Well, it is awesome to have all of you here joining us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect. This is a picture of the College of Education. You should be able to see that on your screen. Give me a thumbs up just so I know that you're seeing the College of Ed on your screen. Fantastic. Okay. So this is looks like an old high school because it actually is an old high school. So you'll be taking courses to learn to be a teacher in a building that was designed for education. Sometimes we even get in our audience somebody that actually attended the old Harrisonburg High School. Do I have any parents maybe that are on the call that actually attended this old Harrisonburg High School, or anybody local to Harrisonburg? Okay. All right. So this is, in fact, the old Harrisonburg High School, and this is where you will be taking most of your education classwork. Now, you will be taking coursework across the entire institution for your general education classes and all of those other classes. So where we're going to start first is talking about an overview of the experience. The first thing you should know is that you have chosen the best place to come to be a teacher. Why? Because JMU was designed before we were ever James Madison University, before we were ever Madison College. We were a state normal school, and state normal schools were specifically designed in order to help to support the process of training people to be teachers. And so we have been in that work since our founding, since we first started. Some other things to keep in mind that you want to know is that you're going to have some opportunities when you come to JMU. You're going to work with some great faculty. Some folks maybe will share a little bit about their faculty. I'll give you a chance for some Q&A at the end with our with our students who are going through our program. And so they will help tell you a little bit about our great faculty, but you're going to really work together, and you're going to learn from them. You're going to hone your skills, and you're going to acquire lots of knowledge from these great faculty members. You're also going to get opportunities to go and take that knowledge and put it in to practice, because you're going to have lots of opportunities in school-based experiences and other experiences where you're going to be going out there and working with children. So you'll have lots of hands-on practical experiences as part of this program. As part of your program, we're really going to work to develop those important skills that you need to be a teacher, those problem-solving skills, those creative skills, those scientific inquiry skills, all of the wonderful skills that you need to be able to help you support learners, and that you're going to help develop in your learners as a teacher. Additionally, we're giving you lots of opportunities to be successful, and our students have been award-winning. So we have Teachers of the Year at the school level, at the district level, regionally, statewide, even nationally. We have had Teachers of the Year from James Madison University, which is pretty exciting, winning all sorts of different teaching awards. And additionally, you are going to get a great job. So a little secret, no matter where you were to study to be a teacher right now, there's a critical teaching shortage, you would definitely get hired. But choosing to come to JMU and being prepared through our programs, you will get first pick. They are going to want you first before they hire anybody else, because JMU alum are sought out by our principals, by our administrators. There is, you will be successfully prepared and they will want to hire you. Now, you've done some really good work to get yourself here at JMU. You have put in the effort, you have been committed to your success, and in doing so, it has positioned you to be successful here at JMU. But it's going to look different than it looked back when you were in high school. You're not going to have your parents reminding you to do your homework. You're not going to have your teachers reminding you about what's coming up next. You're going to have to develop the skill set to review your syllabi and to plan your own time. And so in order to be successful, we are going to ask you to do the work. So one thing is we're going to have high expectations of you. We want to make sure you keep your GPA up. We don't have a tremendously high GPA required for teacher education. It's 2.5. However, if you ever want to go into grad school, they have higher GPA requirements. So we recommend 3.0 and higher, and that you really work and strive to keep your GPA up. Additionally, you're really going to need to work on those time management and organizational skills. We have some great resources available to help you with that. But that is something that you're going to have to come in and put the effort into in order to be successful. In addition to having gotten accepted into JMU, however, you will also need to get accepted into teacher education. There are additional admission requirements to be a teacher, to be in a pre-professional program. So we are going to talk about all of those requirements in the end of your first semester. So we're going to have some group meetings, some group advising meetings that you're going to want to make sure you attend. And you're going to want to come and listen and learn about what you need to know in order to be successful. There are 2 assessments that you'll have to take, and we're going to give you all of spring semester and the summer to be able to fully meet all of the requirements. However, one of those requirements you actually need to do now. Give me a thumbs up if you have already taken your ALEKS test, which is your math placement test. Fantastic. Those of you that have taken it already, that's great. You are going to want to make sure, though, that you got a 46 or higher. So if you did not get a 46 or higher on your first test, it's okay. You get 2 more tries, but you are going to want to go ahead and there are some modules, some remediation modules to help support you in your math. And you're going to want to do a minimum of 3 hours. I say do more. Do as much as it takes to make sure you're going to be successful. So you can do 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever it takes, because you only have 2 more tries. And so we want to make sure you get that 46 or higher, because otherwise you would have to pay to take an assessment for the same material. And we don't want you to have to do that. So we want you to be successful taking the ALEKS assessment. So take some time, take some effort to prepare yourself if you haven't gotten that 46 or higher already. But once you've done it, you've met our basic math skills. It has nothing to do with what math class you're going to take. It has to do with the fact that you need that for teacher education admission. Additionally, you'll be taking an assessment called the Virginia Communication and Literacy Assessment. It's a reading and writing test. And in that reading and writing test, we're going to strongly urge you to take practice tests before you take it. And then if you are struggling at all, to meet with our free tutor and work to support yourself to be successful on the VCLA. And you will probably take that in the spring or possibly early next summer. So we will talk about that when we meet together, probably in November. Additionally, you'll be taking lots of coursework, major coursework for your major, coursework for perhaps minors. You'll have 41 credits of general education coursework that everybody will take. And there's going to potentially be some other courses that you have to take to meet your required content for your licensure area. because we need to make sure that you are well prepared to be a teacher. But you will also need to be able to take and pass a praxis subject assessment. So for our elementary and our ICE students, you'll take one in all 4 subjects, right? So the praxis subject assessment has English, math, social studies, science. And then for our middle and secondary folks, you'll be taking one that's specific to the area in which you're going to be teaching, whether it's math or one of the sciences or social studies or history and social sciences, or whether it's going to be in the English or language arts area. So you'll be taking a praxis subject assessment. And lastly, we are committed to making sure that you have lots and lots of time out in the field. There will be lots of supervised field experiences in addition to your coursework that are planned within your program. Here are some of the expectations that we have for you as a student. The first you're going to be doing right after we meet, I believe at 2:10, you're going to be meeting with your first year advisor. We want you to continue good relationships with your advisors and meeting with them regularly. You have a very special situation as being part of our College of Education programs. You will have the same advisor for you as your first year advisor all the way through your program until you graduate. So a lot of your friends that you'll meet that are in different majors will have a first year advisor, and then in the spring they will be assigned a new advisor for their major. You will, in the spring, when everyone else is switching advisors, you will stay with the same person, with the same advisor. So it's really exciting. You'll get to know your first year advisor, and they'll be your major advisor as well. While you're, yes, Jessica.
There were a couple students that had questions about if having a certain SAT score would satisfy the ALEKS exam requirement. Could you talk more about that?
I can, absolutely. So it is true that if you have the SAT score to meet your requirement, that it will suffice for the ALEKS exam. You can find that information on the Education Support Center website under admissions. And if you have a 560 or higher in the math section, that'll meet the requirement. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Additionally, let's see where we're at. We are at the fact that you are going into pre-professional education. And so you are going to need to present yourself as a pre-professional the entire time that you're part of the College of Education, the entire time that you're working on your degree. What does that mean? It means you're coming to JMU and we want you to experience everything. We want you to have fun. We want you to learn. We want you to meet people. We want you to join organizations. We want you to get very involved. But in everything you do, we also want you to do things in a way that are going to be legal, and that you're not going to get yourself into any trouble, because teachers cannot become teachers with misdemeanors or felonies on their record. So while you're out having fun, while you're meeting people, just please make sure that you are in fact doing the work to stay successful and out of trouble. I mentioned that we're going to meet in the fall for applying to teacher education, and we just talked a little bit about the SAT. Additionally, I just mentioned that we do want you to be engaged in things. So let's look a little bit at what that means, and let's look at how we can take advantage of our resources. So we'll talk about resources first. So this is a list of some of the resources for your success. Highly recommend that third bullet down, learning strategies instruction, that everybody take advantage of that opportunity, because that is one where they will help you to be positioned well for success in terms of time management and organizational skills. So highly recommend that you work with them. You bring your syllabi and they will help you. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. They will help you to be successful with those skills. You will bring your syllabi and they'll help you plan out, like, how do I study for this? When do I do things? There are a lot of different tutoring, and I always like to call these, quote unquote, free resources. They are free. Of course, you are paying tuition, but they're part of your tuition dollars. So take advantage of your resources. Note that as teachers, it doesn't mean we're struggling when we take advantage of our resources. It means that we're smart, right? We're going to help our students one day to take advantage of their resources. And so we want to make sure that all of us are, in fact, taking advantage of all of our resources that we need and seeking the support that we need, not because we're struggling, but because we want to be successful. There are a bunch of different things that you can do as well for opportunities beyond the academic side, although some of these are part of academics. So one of them is an internship. Now, I told you you're going to have lots of opportunities to go out in the field, right? But, you know, teaching and having a major in education can be more expansive than just being in the classroom if you're interested in checking some stuff out. For example, I worked in zoos across the country doing education work. You might be interested in working in museums, or you might be interested in working with textbook industry or other areas where education is really prevalent. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and talk to the University Career Center and talk to your faculty, and let's see if we can set you up with some internships over the summer. Other options are research. If that interests you, you're going to meet these wonderful faculty, and they're going to share about the different research areas that they have, the different things that they're doing as part of their work to publish in. And we have undergraduates that do tons of research that get to present at conferences. And so if you're interested, talk to your faculty members and say, hey, I'd love to do something with that. Are you accepting any students to do research with? And we have a lot of undergraduate students at JMU that are involved in research. Study abroad is another thing that people get very involved in. I think one of the people on our student panel, Kaylee, can share a little bit about her experience going abroad, but you could do a whole semester abroad. You could do an opportunity where you want to do practicum. So we have Maymester opportunities and summer opportunities where you can go to another country and actually work in schools, which is really cool. There's every kind of student organization you could possibly think of, honestly. If you want social organizations, if you want academic organizations, whatever interests you. And so there will be, at the beginning of the semester, there'll be a fair where you can look at all the different student orgs. And when you first come during weeks of welcome, we're going to have a college meeting. We'll talk to you here in Memorial Hall, and then we will have a small fair with some of the different student organizations that you can be involved in right here in the College of Education if you wanted something that's connected to education. And Harrisonburg has so much to offer. I'll let our student panel share a little bit about the things that they like to do, but there's phenomenal food and shopping and hiking, and there's just beautiful nature outside. There's so much to do, because don't just think of yourself as being involved at the JMU community, but you're involved in the larger Harrisonburg-Rockingham community as well. I want you to take a quick look at one of our alum, what Hannah had to say. And this is great advice. You don't know who you may meet or what you may learn. This is Asia. Let's take a look at what she had to say. I always like to say this is fabulous advice. However, if you talk to upperclassmen, please make sure, if you're talking about academics, to double check with your advisor, because sometimes things change, or sometimes people understood things differently than the way that it will affect you. So please don't just go based on advice from an upperclassman when it has to do with your academics. And take a look at what Marissa had to say.
Dara?
Yes.
We had a question about if studying abroad interferes with student teaching and if there's a better semester to go versus.
So there is an opportunity to do student teaching abroad. If that is something that interests you, you can do one block of student teaching in Virginia and one out of the country, or you can do it during other times. So you definitely want to talk to your advisor about when the best time is for you. If you can do a semester abroad, that might be a good time to do during your gen eds in your first or second year. Or if you want to do it as an education, then it might be a summer abroad experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to switch gears slightly, and we're going to talk about the teaching profession. So I'm going to share a little bit of information about this wonderful career that you have decided to embark on. So first, I want you to look at these 5 influences that we talk about in terms of student learning. Take a moment to rank this list. here's your 5 items. I want you to think about which of these is the most powerful influence all the way down to the lowest influence in terms of student learning. All right. So this graph is what research is actually saying about the influences on student learning. It has to do with variance. In other words, can we explain the differences amongst student learning through different variables? And the answer is yes. The number one greatest influence on the student learning is who? Anybody want to call out what the number one influence on student learning is? Which is the largest part of this pie? Yeah, the students. Absolutely. It's the students themselves. So they are going to show up in our classrooms with different backgrounds, different demographic characteristics. They're going to have a unique profile based on who they are as a human being. And they are, in fact, the biggest predictor of how well things will turn out. But look at it. What is the second biggest predictor? You got it. That's right. It's the teachers. It's the teachers. So in other words, think about how can I as a teacher provide an inclusive, culturally responsive environment that's going to offer equity and access and opportunity to learning. Because the student and the teacher together account for more than 75% of the variance in student learning. That means that you matter. We matter. That's our goal. So while you're here, we're going to talk about how to take students as they are and design learning environments that are going to maximize growth and achievement by making careful and deliberate decisions. So here we go. Look at this quote. It is the foundation for the future. You picked the best possible major you could have picked on campus. Why? Because you could have picked engineering. But where do we get the best engineers from? We get them from good teachers. You could have picked psychology, but where do we get the best psychologists from? We get them from good teachers. You could have picked any major on campus, but as we trace success back, it always comes from a good teacher. And so the idea that teaching builds the foundation for the future is not an overstatement at all. All right. There we go. The trick is going to be whether it is by chance or by design. So basically, is it that you are born with good teaching skills or that you have it in your genes? And it turns out that we actually know from research that good teachers come from a result of very deliberate, purposeful, intentional experiences that turn them into effective teachers. So we want to design learning environments that are going to maximize student learning from students. And because every student really deserves a great teacher. Not by chance, but by design. In other words, a student should not walk into a classroom through that door and based on probability alone succeed or not succeed in the classroom. It should be purposeful. It should be by design. So we're going to partner together, you and your faculty, and we're going to learn together so that you're going to be able to have the power to design the environments. So there'll be textbook work involved, it's going to be collaboration with peers, and most importantly, it's going to involve work out in the field in your practicums and your student teaching experiences. Whoops. Sorry. So in order to do it by design, it means that we're going to have to use the right approach at the right time. We're going to need to recognize what it is that we want our students to learn. We're going to use a strategy that we have learned as we build our repertoire of approaches. We're going to build a toolbox with a collection of strategies, and then we will learn to apply the right strategy at the right time with the right student using the right content. All right, taking a look at this. What is this a graph of? Anybody know what type of graph this might be? No thoughts? If I tell you that it's a seismograph, what is it measuring? Yep, you're right, Kaylee. It's a seismograph. Exactly. So this is measuring what? Does anybody know? It's earthquakes. It's earthquakes. That's right. Thanks, Kaylee. So here's a picture of the seismographic reading from an earthquake. So one of the ways to think about teaching and learning is the same as an earthquake. So over the next years, you're going to learn that there are things that happen in our schools and our classroom that represent these small earthquakes. Okay. These earthquakes happen, no one denies they occur, but you can't really feel them. You can see them on the seismograph, but you can't really feel them. And these happen in our classrooms every day. They may take up a lot of time, but they have very little impact on student learning. But we're going to set those aside and we're going to focus on things that would affect what we would call a medium earthquake. These medium earthquakes are ones that only certain people feel. They are isolated experiences. Sometimes learners just need a little bump to move forward. Maybe you have a learner that's a speaker of another language and needs additional support, or maybe a learner has moved on and beyond the standard and needs some enrichment activities. But these are the ones we want to concentrate on. These are the earthquakes we're going to devote our time to. They are the things that we do in our schools and in our classrooms that have a major impact on student learning. It means moving learning forward beyond 1 year's worth of growth. The things that really maximize learning. And you're going to learn those strategies. You're going to be able to list out the things that have a major impact on student learning. And better yet, you're going to be able to take them from an idea in the classroom to implementation. You're going to be able to change the trajectory of a student's experience. Let's go ahead and read this. There are some unexpected things that are going to come up because young learners are not predictable. And you might encounter something like this. So think about how we will communicate with parents and guardians, how we are going to embrace the whole community. Take a look at this one. Students are going to interact in ways that make us want to laugh and give us information on how the class is going. This is actually an honest conversation, right? It reflects feedback from learners. So we will need to interact with our learners and know what they think about our teaching. Because if a student believes this about our classroom, then we need to change something. Let's look at this one now. This ultimately is the kind of relationship we're after as teachers. So we are going to focus on the role of the student-teacher relationship and how we leverage our individual talents and our gifts and our personalities to connect with our students with their unique, fun, and engaging personalities. And at the end of the day, the relationship that we have with our learners is going to dictate how implementation goes. Because students will not work for a teacher that they don't like. So we have to build the relationships by putting ourselves into their shoes. This is our last quote. And yes, we can expect students to know the standards and the curriculum, but really at the end of the day, you are going to learn that we are not just teaching math or social studies, we are teaching learners. And we need to embrace them as individuals and unique contributors in the classroom and recognize that it's really a collective effort. Addition and subtraction matter, but people matter more. So let's watch this video. You all hear it? Good. Thanks, Gavin.
You're one of the students I selected, and I wanted to let you know that you inspire me to be a better teacher, and you make me want to come to school every day. And I think you're awesome, so keep up the good work.
Thank you. As you inspire me to come to school every day, you are my success story.
I picked you. Really? Yeah, because you're friendly and enthusiastic, and you care about school, and you're always trying your hardest.
I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate you, and you're a reason that I come to work every day.
I just wanted to tell you, Jamie, that I appreciate you. And I think that you are, seriously, I really think you're an awesome student. And I love the way that you are so kind to me.
You two are two of the people that make it fun for me to come to work. And I like coming and seeing you. And you're the reason I get out of bed and come here in the mornings.
I'm gonna miss you next year.
No, a lot of kids don't cry. You make me cry. You're awesome. Sorry. Thank you. That made my day.
All right. So ultimately, we want you to think about what inspires you to be a teacher. Think about what teachers in your life which ones led you to this point in your career. Use that inspiration, use that motivation to engage you in your learning. But once you get out there, make it even better. Don't just imitate your mentors, take what they taught you and move it forward. So this next part is really going to be an opportunity for some College of Ed students to share some information. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to give us an opportunity for our students to turn on their cameras. Now, are you able to turn on your camera? Because before I wasn't able to. I don't think we can. Okay, so do I have somebody here from orientation that's?
I can help.
Thanks, Jessica. Can you help to give Gavin Wilkerson,
Sure.
Kaylee and Cameron Haynes all access to be able to turn on their cameras?
I can do that. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And Jessica, do you want an opportunity as well?
I'm
Not
okay.
you, Jessica. I'm sorry. I'm asking Jessica Llewellyn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, could you also give Jessica Llewellyn an opportunity to turn on her camera as well? And of course, they have to be able to unmute themselves. I didn't realize that the reason that students were having trouble is because they weren't able to. Oh, Kaylin, you don't. And that's fine, Kaylin. I was actually talking about Kaylee and Cameron, who are our students. You don't have to turn your camera on. So you're good to go. All right, Gavin, looks like you are off mute. Jessica, you can't unmute? Yeah. Kaylee, I think that you can talk now.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I still can't start my video, but I can speak.
All right. Gavin, you're unmuted also, so is Jessica. And then Cameron, you're still muted. Are you able to unmute?
Give me 1 second. I am trying to take off the
The
lock
restrictions.
for the cameras.
See, when I thought this was all in my Zoom, nobody would have been restricted. All right, looks like you all can talk now. So why don't you, everybody will see you in just a moment when you can undo your video, but why don't you share a little bit about who you are and what programs you're in and involved in, Kaylee, Cameron, and Gavin. Kaylee, you want to go first?
Sure, I am going into my last semester as an undergrad student. I am majoring in English with a secondary education minor. So I'm in the 5-year program, and I love it.
Awesome. Cameron?
Hi, I'm Cameron. I just recently graduated from JMU with a BA in English. I'm currently getting my master's in secondary education. And yeah, I just started my program over the summer.
Awesome. And Gavin?
My name is Gavin Wilkerson. I use he, him pronouns. I am a recent graduate of James Madison University as well. I graduated from the 4-year secondary education and social studies history dual major program.
And we also have joining us today, Jessica Llewellyn. She is a former teacher, currently now, yeah, I see Gavin now, currently working as an advisor. So Jessica, do you want to say hi? I'm not sure if you're able to do that now, Jessica, but okay. So Jessica's on there as well. She's actually hosted many of our students over the years as a teacher in the local area. So Kaylee and Gavin, I see you, and Cameron, I don't see you yet, but hopefully we'll soon. But why don't you guys share a little bit? Now this session, everybody, goes till 2, but we're going to extend it just a little bit because we started a little bit late. So we're going to extend it just a little bit. You have 2:10 is when you're supposed to meet with your advisors who are right here in the Education Support Center. So we're just going to give an opportunity to make sure that you hear from our students. So we're going to ask Gavin and Kaylee and Cameron to share a little bit about their favorite thing about being a JMU College of Ed student. How about that?
Sure, I can go ahead and start. So I would say that my favorite thing about formerly being a JMU College of Ed student was definitely the student teaching. Oftentimes when the stresses of the semester get to you or whatever, you're like, why am I doing these classes? haven't been in an actual classroom. This is like, what is the purpose of doing this? And then you get into a classroom and you're like, oh, that's why I did all that. That makes sense. And so all the things that you have learned in those classes that you've taken before getting into a classroom, you can apply what you learned in the classroom. And then actually just being in the classroom is also very beneficial because, I mean, that's the whole reason that you're being a teacher, is you're there for the students. So to be able to get the experience beforehand and kind of realize like, this is what I want to do in my interest, I think was most awesome for me personally.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I also, because I'm doing the 5-year program, it is a little structured, a little bit different. You don't start to get into your student teaching until your later years. So the thing that I really love about the College of Ed, whether it's like the residential learning community group or the professors, like everybody is so nice, and it's really a great community to get yourself involved in.
I would say also my practicum experience that comes before student teaching, even as an observer of like the teachers, it's a really great experience, and being able to interact with the students in the classroom too.
Wonderful. And then can you share a little bit about what your favorite thing to do here at JMU is, either on campus or off campus?
I can also start that. On campus, it's right behind me, actually sitting on this lovely quad, is just one of my favorite pastimes to do, because often, as you can see in this photo and many other photos I'm sure that you see on Instagram, Facebook, etc., it's just a beautiful place to be. It's where everyone kind of is. I mean, I was history when I was an undergrad, so that's my building right there. That's my home. So I was like waiting for my friends and stuff whenever they were coming out of class, etc., etc. Off campus, I'm a nerd. That's why I did history. So I prefer trivia. There's so many places to do trivia downtown, but my personal favorite has got to be Clementine's on Tuesdays. It's just a better vibe in my opinion, but you can really do it any day of the week if you would like to. But that's what I like to do downtown.
On campus, some like East Campus is known for the sunsets. It's just incredible. It doesn't matter like at what time you go over. It's just always breathtaking. I can't even explain it to you. Off campus, Massanutten is like 15 minutes ish away. So that's really cool in the winter. You get to go like snowboarding or skiing and stuff. It's an awesome thing to try to like get some fresh air in the middle of winter. But yeah, I think that's my favorite.
For me on campus, I think it's just being walking around. It's a beautiful campus, whether you're on main campus or East Campus. Even when it's hot, cold, I love it. And I would say off campus, probably there's a lot of places to eat downtown. One of my favorites would be Jimmy Madison's.
Awesome. And Jessica was able to join us now with her video. Jessica, did you want to share a little bit about your experience working with JMU students? Oh, no. Sounds like your sound's not working. That's okay. We'll hopefully come back later. All right. So if you have any questions for our student panel, we have 2 or 3 more minutes that we can stay together. So please go ahead and type your message and we'll be able to answer it. In the meanwhile, do you want to talk about some of your experiences working in the field, working with children? I know that you've already mentioned it a little bit, or any wonderful experiences working with faculty. How about either or both of those? How about that?
Sure. I'll also start. I guess I'll start with faculty. I have never felt like so supported when I was going through the program. I had 4 advisors. One was the general education advisor, another was a secondary education advisor, a third was a history major advisor, and then a 4th was my minor advisor, which can get confusing every now and again, which is why they have it so well structured and supported with those advisors, because they're really there to help you. Like, that's the whole reason they have a job. They're there to help you. They're going to aid you in any way that they possibly can for you to succeed. And I never felt more supported. And the faculty that I took classes with were also amazing. I learned so much, especially Dr. Dubé. Shout out Dr. Dubé. Learned so much about assessment and differentiation. Yeah. In regard to my experience with students in the classroom, this is a very cool area because you have Harrisonburg City, which is a very diverse region. And then you kind of have Rockingham County, which is still pretty diverse, but it's kind of like a little bit more different. And then even Augusta County's a little more different in that regard. But you generally get placed in it, I would think, in most programs, 2 places. I had the opportunity to be placed in 3 different places, and each 3 was such a eye-opening experience. And you come in, even right now in this orientation, you're like, man, I'm going to teach this grade in this class, and it's going to be awesome. And then after your first practicum, you may be like, well, that was awful. Let me try this one. Or, man, that was okay. Let's see if there's other things. And then you do other things, and you enjoy those more. So, yeah.
Awesome. Haley?
Yeah. I would say probably the most rewarding experience that I've had, like in a practicum, was when I did the study abroad program in Ireland. There was something so incredible about like building those relationships with students, and like to the point, like I had a student invite me to her graduation, and I like tears in my eyes. I had to say no because I had to come back to the States, but I still get emails from my CT, like giving me updates on like previous students and stuff who like I've gotten letters, and it was really rewarding. And from faculty, I think there's something so incredible that every single semester I've been at JMU, there has been at least one professor who has stepped up and really been a mentor. Like previously I was lucky if I got like one mentor, and like everybody at JMU is just so they want to help you as much as they can, which is really incredible. It's a really special place to be.
I will pick up kind of off of what Gavin said. I didn't really consider teaching middle school until I was placed in a middle school. And just like that experience definitely changed my viewpoint on a lot of things. And I have a practicum at a high school next semester, so I'm really excited to see how I will enjoy that.
Wonderful. So unfortunately, we don't have any time and I don't see any questions, but you are going to now move on and meet with your advisors. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. Again, I'm Dara Hall. I'm the Executive Director of Teacher Education, and I can always get our students to share information if you have any questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you, but I look forward to meeting you and seeing you in person in the fall. So we look forward to that time, and it was a pleasure to talk to you today. Have a great one, everybody.